Nick Wright, host of First Things First on Fox Sports 1, Monday through Friday, every afternoon. And What's Right with Nick Wright on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Great to see you. Did the commissioner have a good day? Commissioner of Major League Baseball have a good day yesterday?
Wow. This is... Have you, before I answer the question, I didn't hear the top of your show. Did you... You're kind of, one of, if not the current godfather of American sports radio. Did you have a moment of silence for, should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame topic? Like potentially dying of being gone? It's always been a go-to, if need be, break glass in case of emergency for your entire career. And those days may be numbered. I don't even know what to compare this to. But it's like if you did a talk show about, should they tear down the Berlin Wall? And then it's announced it's coming down. Like, what are we going to do here? So, yeah, I think it's a good day. And I also think maybe I'm obviously not an idiot, but maybe this is an idiotic opinion. I thought it was obvious that once a guy dies, a lifetime ban is over. I thought the whole point of it was, like, while he's alive, he can't be a part of it.
But it was not a lifetime ban. It was a permanent ban. People misconstrued what the ban was. It was a permanent, not lifetime. Now the commissioner has since altered that language. Now it's a lifetime ban.
So, okay, bad job by me. I didn't realize that. But, yeah, I think that's what it should be. I think we've talked about this before. A Hall of Fame should be museums. Yeah. In my opinion. Yeah. And if you want to, in theory, you should be able to go to a Hall of Fame knowing nothing about a sport. And if you spend enough time there, get the full totality of the history of it. Maybe it'll take a month being there 10 hours a day. I don't know. So I always thought there were obvious things. Like, I thought that if you wanted to include on plaques of certain guys played in, a segregation era, played in what is commonly known as the steroid era, was banned from the sport due to gambling, like those things, like that's part of the story. But I don't like the idea of we're just going to act like these guys didn't exist. And I also don't like the voters, the way they have treated the steroid guys, because to me it is shortchanging what the Hall of Fame is supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm with you on the museum part of it, and I don't think anybody has benefited more than Pete Rose did by not being in the Hall of Fame.
For sure.
25 years ago, if he's in the Hall of Fame, we don't bring up his name, but it became a campaign and a crusade. I do think the commissioner of Major League Baseball meeting with President Trump may have had a quid pro quo where Donald Trump wanted him in.
No, that's not like him.
Are you kidding?
There's no.
You don't think
quid pro quo with this administration? Quell your lips, sire. What a scurrilous allegation.
Oh, I know.
Unfounded
I know.
With any data whatsoever. This is why people don't trust the liberal media, Dan. My God. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. But I think Pete getting off the list, people think this is just going to be rubber stamped. He's going into the Hall of Fame, which he still has to go through this committee that doesn't get together until December of 2027. And just to get on the ballot. So I think this is a long process. I do think Pete will get that opportunity, but I would put Shoeless Joe Jackson in before Pete, or put him on the ballot before Pete.
Can I ask you a question, and then I know you want to get to other things.
Okay.
And I'm putting you on the spot, so I apologize.
Okay.
Did you like Pete Rose?
I loved Pete Rose. I didn't always like him.
No, so I knew as a player.
Yeah.
But I assume my only interaction with Pete Rose my entire life was my grandparents lived in Boca when I was a kid, and my granddad was a horse better, and he would sometimes take me to the track, and we'd see Pete Rose there all the time. And one time I said hello. I assume you had maybe dozens of interactions with him, and I'm just curious if you liked him, because it's an odd thing, because even people who think like I think that he should be in the Hall of Fame, I don't think viewed him as a super sympathetic figure or even that necessarily likable of a figure.
Well, it didn't help his case that there was no active contrition. He never apologized. He never said, how do I make good on this? How do I help Major League Baseball? Had he done that, I think he would have already been in the Hall of Fame. And we'll talk to Johnny Bench coming up next hour. A couple other things I want to bring to your attention. I don't know if you heard about, we were doing the Hall of Very Good in the NBA. Okay. So I don't know if you have, and you always like to do tiers on your show in the afternoon. Yeah. I don't know if you had a Hall of Very Good, like Joe Johnson, let's say, Jamal Crawford. There's guys who probably aren't going in the Hall of Fame, but the Hall of Very Good.
So I love that, but when it comes to the NBA, that to me is really applicable to the NFL because there's a lot of legends that aren't ever going to make the Hall. If I were doing it with the NBA, the way I would do the Hall of Very Good is taking a bunch of guys who are actually in the Hall out and putting them in that Hall. Like there's
too many in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Right, to where it's almost as if you have a noteworthy career and you're not considered, like, I'll give you an example. Al Horford might make it.
I think he will because of the 2 titles in Florida.
Well, right.
Throw that in there too.
Yes, and listen, everybody likes Al Horford. It's kind of mean of me to pick him, but it just came to mind. At no moment in his entire professional basketball career were you like, man, shoot, we got Al Horford this week. Like, he was a good player for a long time, and he'll probably make it, as you said. Like, there are
Hall of Very Good, HOVG.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, Jaylen Brown is damn near a lock. Like, and he's 28 years old, and it's so, yeah, I have very controversial opinions on this, which is, another thing we do on the show, free plug, is Club Superstar for the NBA, annual event, opening again end of May, and it's 12 guys, maximum, which means, like, oh, shoot, is Tyrese Halliburton now in Club Superstar? And if the answer to that question is yes, somebody's got to come out. I wish that's how a Hall of Fame worked. Like, listen, there's 96 Hall of Famers or whatever the number is. So, you know,
Mate,
I don't know.
There's going to be relegation in your Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I mean, you can't support this because it'd be so bad for your guy Reggie, but it would be very exciting. It would be very exciting if it was. Now, you can say every, decade, because the league numbers expanded, we add 5 total new spots or whatever. But guys who, like, got into the skin of their teeth, they get to have the ceremony, they get to have the plaque, but they know I'm probably just keeping somebody's seat warm, which I think would be cooler.
We're talking to Nick Wright, host of First Things First on Fox Sports 1 and What's Right with Nick Wright on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Give me the situation, the most awkward off-season situation with, let's say, Milwaukee, let's say Denver, let's say Golden State, Boston, with, exits from the playoffs and moves that might be or need to be made, trades that need to be made?
Well, I mean, I can go one by one if I may. Boston, what happened to Boston in the last 72 hours is, a sports tragedy in that they thought, maybe rightfully so, that we went cold the first 2 games. We're better than the Knicks. We're obviously better than the Cavs. And I think, listen, the Pacers, people forget, last year the Pacers conference finals, Halliburton got hurt early game 2. And so we didn't really get to see that. But I'm sure they felt comfortable. We're going to win the championship and be in good position, maybe even for a three-peat. Now, the next time Jason Tatum plays basketball, Al Horford won't be on the team. Kristaps likely won't be on the team. Drew or Derek White might not be on the team. And that team, that people were talking about that team paring away even if they win because of the finances of it. So there's that. I think Denver, even if they lose this series, has done enough to where they can feel better about their direction than they did when they fired Michael Malone, obviously. And you're seeing just enough from Strother and Watson, like maybe they get better, and you hope you get a healthier Michael Porter Jr. I think Golden State is finished. Now, I've said that before, and, Draymond's made fun of me, and that's fine, but anybody trying to concoct a Giannis trade to Golden State doesn't understand how the CBA works and assets work. So I don't see and I don't think Jimmy Butler's getting better. You know what I mean? I think we are seeing that at 35 years old, playoff Jimmy has real limitations. I think Milwaukee, here is the other part of the Tatum injury. Does that give Giannis pause where he's like, maybe I give this one more year? Like, the Cavs, by the way, are a second apron disaster. I have a thought on them in a second. The Celtics are self-eliminated. I'm going to train all summer with just a picture of John Halliburton, Tyrese's dad, for motivation. Maybe the East. If I'm Giannis, do I want to go West where, honest to God, Dan, if you were to list, if Giannis goes West and Tatum is injured, if you were to list the 20 best players in the NBA, 16 would be in the West. Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Halliburton, and then maybe Jalen Brown or Towns. Like, is that those? Everyone else is in the West. So does Giannis want to do that? And so I think all that's fascinating. I also think, because of everything I just said, year 23, go back home, win a title with Cleveland, or at least make another finals is something for LeBron James.
Oh.
It's something you couldn't go there if they won 64 games, made the finals. But when they just keep getting clocked in round 2, and it's like, oh, who's your starting 3? Max Strus? I think I'm an upgrade. I think I would help out a little there. Now, the real question there is, what do the Cavs have to trade to get Bronny? Because Rob Pelinka are going to hold their feet to the fire on that one, boys.
What do you think? Trying to handicap LeBron, you want to win one more title. You're not going to win it with the Lakers.
Well, I
don't think how they're constructed. I think Austin Reeves is probably the movable piece there, but I mean, you got to get a big guy.
Correct.
And I don't know.
Would you trade Austin Reeves straight up for Malawach? Like the kid out of Duke. So say he's going to be the 9th pick.
Yeah, he's got to develop, and now I got LeBron clock ticking.
That to me makes a lot of sense for the Lakers for Luka. Like, a young defense, catch lobs, block shots. But for LeBron, I don't know. Listen, I am such a Luka Doncic believer. I know that half the NBA fans seem to think he's just a fat alcoholic. I think he's a guy who carried a mediocre team to the finals last year. I think he'll be fine. I thought, it has broken like this for a while, that the way the bracket is broken, that I thought the Lakers had a really good chance to come out of the West. And now when you see it, you're like, oh, maybe they did. The problem is they played terribly and Minnesota played great. So I don't think they'd be drawing dead as long as they added a big going into next year. But obviously, the East, that path is wide open right now. And so the Cleveland thing to me is worth pondering for a moment. Now, he'd have to basically play for the minimum. And we know the rules on LeBron James. If he plays for the max, he's greedy, and if he plays for the minimum, he's rigging it. So he's going to get criticized either way. But I think that's something that would be worth considering.
Being in New York, are you caught up on the Knicks hysteria? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I'm no Dan Patrick. I don't get free tickets to things. I'm buying tickets to these games.
Really?
Yeah. Because I don't ask for press passes because I feel like, I don't know, man. Like I don't want to feel like they did me a favor, I owe them this, whatever, and I'm not going in the locker room, you know what I mean? I'm not covering the games. So no, I buy tickets. And so I went to game 2 against Detroit. I went to game 3 against Boston. So I've actually been to 2 Knicks losses. But yeah, it is exhilarating. And the city feels an extra verve because the thing is this, the Knicks are the only team that everyone in the city roots for. Like Yankees, Mets, Giants, Jets, Rangers, Devils, Islanders. And I know people are like, what about the Brooklyn Nets? The Brooklyn Nets don't have fans. They don't. And so
don't you have season tickets to the Brooklyn?
I did have season tickets to Brooklyn for a year because I wanted to watch KD and Kyrie and Harden. But I got rid of those once they got rid of those players. But the Garden is really just unlike any other spot. And it is, the city feels very alive. Are you coming to any games?
No.
This guy. Once you've
I could.
The trophy at the finals.
You're right.
It just can't go to a game, Nick.
You hang out with Jordan after he wins another title.
By the way, shout out to NBC.
I know.
That's awesome. And listen.
What do you think his role is going to be?
A gambling expert.
Wow. That's a walk-off.
Okay.
That's a walk-off. That's Nick Wright, host of First Things First on Fox Sports 1 and What's Right with Nick Wright on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast.